Alright, people have been asking, what are my plans after the summer? I think the living arrangements will be its own video, and I'll get to my plans in terms of jobs right now. And if you're wondering, Rice, weren't you filming in this exact same spot in the video that got published yesterday? Yes. It's not that windy, nice scenery, it's dark out, it's cool out, and I'm not moving. So, what am I doing after the summer? I will say that last summer, 2024, I think it was week 5, there were 7 weeks of the Orleans series. I think it was week 5, I got informally, but I got offered the permanent part-time position if I wanted to stay on the roster after the summer series. Broke my record, shattered the record this year. In 2025, I think it was shift number 5, not week number 5. I think it was like my 5th day. I informally got that offer again. Not gonna take it. Things could change, but as of the second that I'm filming, not gonna take it. I really don't want to do something in the middle. I'd rather do something on the extremes. Like if I were like guaranteed somehow, not that you could do this because you don't know how many tables are ever going to be running, but if I could be guaranteed like 40 hours on the clock at Planet Hollywood, I might take Orleans up on that offer and work another like 15 to 25 each week at Orleans and just have like the main focus for like 1 to 3 years be dealing, and everything else is secondary and just amassing money. I really don't want it to be in the middle. I feel like what it would be if I, staying on at Planet Hollywood, and if I took Orleans up on that non-summer position, I feel like it would, it wouldn't be tons of hours. It would probably be like combined between the two around 40 hours, but it would be like 8 to 10 shifts, and just the number of shifts, forget the number of hours, just the number of shifts would make it like really your entire week revolves around getting to those shifts for those start times. Like your sleep, where you're staying, like just every aspect of your life revolves around that, even though at the end of the week it's like not really that many hours and like not worth all the hassle. So I don't want to do something in the middle. So if it were massive hours, I might do both, but since that extreme's not happening and I don't want to do the middle, what I'm probably going to do is just stay on at PH. Don't know if the number of days of the week will drop to 4 or stay at 5, just with the understanding like, it's not 8-hour shifts every single time. If you're locking in, probably for the last table of the night. But besides that, probably like half days, most shifts. But do that, keep my flexibility, and only need to worry about the one uniform, the one type of game. We basically run 1-3 no limit. There are others, but like dealing Orleans would be a lot. I don't know whether it would be cash or tournaments, but they run horse tournaments and a lot of non-hold'em in the cash games there. So just easier on the mind, easier on the schedule, and still solid hours, solid money. But I think that's it, and I'll see how long. I hope PH is open for a very long time. I'm aware of the possibility that it might not be. If PH closes, I think still the better decision for me to stay with just PH for now. If it does close at some point, for one, still have my employee ID number. That's never going away. Still have this good work history with a Caesars property. So even if PH closed, and what would I do then? I could do one of two things. For one, I could try to get on the Bally's roster. If I either tried and couldn't, or when the time came, didn't feel like trying to do that, then I could go back to what I was doing, traveling and playing, and still with this good work history and this employee ID number, very easy to deal the World Series of Poker in future summers, very easy to get on the roster to deal World Series of Poker circuit. Not just the one in Vegas, which I really like the timing of, right around March Madness, and then stay until the end of the summer. It's not a massive part of the year, but it is one longer, solid part of the year, late March through mid-July. Could come in a little earlier, could stay a little later, but 2 poker series, covering about 3 months, 4 months or so. And also, there are Caesars properties outside Vegas that have circuit stops. pretty sure some in California, but I remember Council Bluffs, of course. I've been there when the series has been running, and Baltimore, I think just this past winter. I don't think like historically has, but this past winter I think did. So places I often am have Caesars properties that have Caesars poker tournament series, so I think it would definitely be easier to get. I'm not saying it would be a guarantee, but definitely be easier to get on those rosters today than it was, you know, back in August when I had no work history with Caesars, no employee ID number. Like the paperwork type of things are done. I would still need to contact some people, possibly audition, and definitely get a gaming license in those other states, but a chunk of the process is done. So that's the plan. Stay on with PH after the summer and hope it continues for a while, and if it doesn't, I still have some options. But I like Orleans over the summer. I don't think it's for me for the non-summer parts of the year. If I'm in town still in the winter, if you're going by, you know, the solstice and equinox dates, not exactly the winter, but when the winter series happens. Last year it started November 22nd and it ended December 24th, I'm pretty sure. Those were the dates last year. If I'm still in town then, I would definitely be up for doing the Orleans winter series also. Last year I just wasn't in town, so it wasn't a possibility, but I was aware it was happening. The thing is, I would need to be just way stricter about my availability. I wasn't a fan this summer that my schedule changed every week. I never knew that far in advance, like the days I would be able to sleep, and I did want to give it a try. I knew I was like going overboard with the hours and the number of shifts, but I just assumed, because it was the way last year, that whatever days I got week 1 of Orleans would be my days and hours every single week, and it was never the same back-to-back weeks. So we have, our schedule gets posted on this bulletin board, and some people have certain, you know, each column is the day of the week, Friday through Thursday, and each row is another dealer. And some dealers have certain days every week that are just black rectangles. They never work those days of the week. I would need those. So if my schedule at PH is exactly the same and late November is coming up and I tell Orleans, yeah, I'm available to work your winter series, as of this second, I would just need to tell them I need Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday blacked out. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I could do all 5 of your winter series weeks. I could do any 2 of the 3. I could do any 1 of the 3. And I don't even mind if it changes week to week, but those are the only 3 possible days I could do. If that were the case, you know, Tuesday night PH turning into Wednesday morning Orleans, kind of a double shift. A double isn't bad. The triples were rough this summer, and I had that one stretch of like 5 in a row that was really rough. Don't want to do those. I don't mind a double at all. Then I would go to sleep. Thursday, only Orleans, that would be fine. Then I would go to sleep, and then Friday I would have Orleans in the morning and PH at night, another double. So twice a week I would have a double, which is fine. I would have no triples, I would have no quadruples, I would have no quintuples. That's fine. So I just need to be strict about that. And if they say, no, we need someone with more availability or changing availability, then I would say, okay, no hard feelings, but that doesn't fit my schedule and I can't work the winter series. So that's what it's looking like for me for the next few months, for the rest of the year. And yeah, probably another video go into living arrangements, because a lot of people have been asking questions about that. But this video, didn't want to go overboard with topics, just wanted to tell you what my plans are for when the Orleans Summer Series ends, July 13th, coming up pretty quickly. That is the final day of the Orleans Series, and after the chaos of the World Series is over, we'll see if my PH schedule stays exactly the same, or, you know, maybe if it changes down to 4 days or 3 days a week. I have no idea. We were very busy instantly. You know, when we opened, a lot of people were on the schedule 5 days, and of course during the series weeks stayed 5 days, and I'll see if there's a change coming after the series is done over at PH. And remember, rice is a spoon food.